Hello children, good morning. How are you all? Hope you are doing good. Okay, so do you have any idea what are we gonna see today? Yes, we are gonna see grammar part. Okay, what are we gonna see in grammar? Yes, right. We are gonna see tenses. So in our previous class, we have seen present tense. All the four types of tenses in present tense, that are simple present tense, present continuous tense, present perfect tense, and present perfect continuous tense. Right. So the general forms and the definitions and the rules to be followed while saying sentences in present tense, and the keywords that we use to find out which is the present tense. All those we have seen in our last class for present tense. So today we are going to see the remaining tense, that is past tense. Okay. So what is present tense? Let's have a small recap. What is present tense? Present tense is used to express an action that is happening or that's gonna happen or just got over, or the habitual actions and the general facts. To express all those things we use present tense, right? So in past tense also we have four types, right? As we have four types in present tense, we have four types in past tense too. Shall we get into the lesson to check what are those four types and what do we follow in those four types? Yes, come. So in tenses we are going to see past tense today. So there are four types of tenses in past tense. There are four types in past tense. They are simple past tense, past continuous tense, past perfect tense, past perfect continuous tense. What are the four types? Simple past tense, past continuous tense, past perfect tense, past perfect continuous tense. Okay, so now we'll see one by one. First we'll see simple past tense and the definition of simple past tense. What are the general forms that we use in simple past tense, and the rules in which are the places that we use simple past, and the examples, the keywords we are going to see in simple past tense now. Okay, so what is the definition for simple past tense? It is used to express an action which took place in the past and is completed by the time of speaking. Tell me now, what is past tense? Simple past tense. Simple past tense is used to express an action which took place in the past and is completed by the time of speaking. So listen now, something has happened, okay? Something is over. So to express which is over, to express an action which is over in the past, nadanda mudinchadu, so which is over in the past and is completed by the time of speaking. So when we speak about it, it's not happening, it's over already. So the action which is over and not happening at the time of speaking is called simple past tense. Let's see the general form of simple past tense now. See the general form: subject plus verb. So verb in do form. In present tense we have seen verb in do form or does form. In simple present tense we have do form or does form. Here we have verb in did form. Okay, so do form will be changed to did form, does form will be changed to did form. So subject plus verb in did form. What's the did form? Yes, so the verb, the action verb will be changed in V2 form, past form. Okay, so present, past, past participle. So the second form, V2 form, or we add ed with the verb. Some action verbs will be carrying ed with the verb, or else some verbs will be changed to V2 form. For example, past tense of give is gave. So the gave is V2 form. Okay. Past tense of work, worked. Past tense of work, worked. So we add ed with the word work. W-O-R-K-E-D. So that is the differentiation here. Subject plus verb. Verb in did form. That did form is, the verb will be changed either in V2 form or else we add ed with the verb. Okay. So let's see the rules to make a clear idea. See the first rule: to express an idea that an action started and finished at the time of speaking at a specific time in the past. To express an idea that an action started and finished at a specific time in the past. So, we have to express the idea that something had happened in the past. Okay, so at a specific time it happened and got over by the time itself. It's not dragging, so it's over by the specific time itself. For example, if you can see the examples, you can have a better understanding. See the example. He saw a movie yesterday. See this? Yesterday. Yesterday refers to past, right? Yesterday refers to past. So he saw a movie. Present form of saw is see. See, saw, see. So we are taking V2 form here. We are taking V2 form here. V2 form of see. So he saw a movie yesterday. So yesterday he saw the movie and it was over yesterday. So it's not dragging to today. So he saw a movie yesterday. And the next example, I travelled to Delhi last week. I travelled to Delhi last week. Since it is last week, it's over by last week itself. So travel with ed. See, travel with ed. Either in V2 form, see, saw, or in verb plus ed, travel, travel. So I traveled to Delhi last week. Last week I traveled and I came back last week itself. I am here today. I am not in Delhi today. So something has happened in the past and it's over by the specific time itself. To express all those actions, we use this rule. And next rule, okay, rule number 2. To list a series completed actions in the past. To list a series of completed actions in the past. So when something is happening in a series, so we have few works to be done and we have finished all the works. To mention that I finished this, I finished that, I finished all those things. To say it in a simple sentence, we use rule number 2. So to list a series of completed actions in the past. See the example. He finished work, comma, walked to the road and found a big shop to purchase. Found a big shop to purchase. Tell me which are the action verbs in past here. See, he finished. In the first sentence, actually we have a list of work that is done, right? So series of work that is done, not only one work. There are few works given. So he finished work, walked to the road and found a big shop to purchase. So he finished. Finished plus ed. Verb with ed. He finished work, comma. Next one. Walked to the road. Walk plus ed. V2 form. Walk plus ed. Next one. And found a big shop to purchase. Which is past verb here? Found. Find past tense is found. Find past tense is found. So he finished work, comma, walked to the road and found a big shop to purchase. He finished work, past tense finished, walked to the road, past tense walked, found a big shop to purchase. For example, for one more example, I did my routine and had my breakfast and then came to school. Okay, so we are saying it as a series of actions that is completed in the past. So rule number 2 has to list a series of completed actions in the past. Next rule number 3, to talk about habitual or repeated actions that took place in the past. To talk about habitual or repeated actions that took place in the past. Some things which are habitual, which are routine, and the repeated actions that we do every day. For example, he studied French when he was a child. He studied French when he was a child. It was a habitual action. So, When he was a child, he studied French. He's not learning now. He's not studying French now. When he was a child, he studied French. So he studied French when he was a child, at the time of his childhood. Next one, she worked at the shop as a part-timer. Habitual action. She worked at the shop as a part-timer. For a period of time, she worked there. It was a repeated action. It was a habitual action of the girl. So, she worked at the shop as a part-timer. Which are the past tense verbs here? He studied. Study plus ed. So, we are taking y out and adding I with that. I-E-D. Studied. S-T-U-D-I-E-D. Studied. And here she worked. Work plus ed. Work plus ed. So she worked at the shop as a part-timer. So hope you can understand this. To talk about habitual or repeated actions that took place in the past. Some repeated actions that took place in the past for a period of time. Okay, it's not happening now. It was happening for a period of time in the past. So with this we have only 3 rules. So the first rule is to express an action which took place in the past and is completed by the time of speaking. When we speak about the action, it's not happening. It is over by the time of doing itself, by the time of happening itself. And the next one is to express an idea that an action started and finished at a specific time in the past. In a particular time it started and happened in a particular time itself. And the next one, to list series of actions in the past. To list a series of action in the past. So when some things are happening in a regular basis, so some things are happening in a series basis, we use this rule. And the next one is to talk about the habitual or repeated actions that took place in the past. So some habitual action or routine work, repeated work that we are doing in a period of time, for a period of time, that was over in the past, not now. That was over in the past, but it was happening for a long time, okay, for a period of time. For this, we use this rule. So in simple past tense, we have all these rules, and in all these actions, in all these times, we use simple past tense, okay. So we have there are few keywords to be found, whether the sentence is past tense or present tense or future tense. So likewise, we have some keywords for simple past tense too. So in the sentence have some keywords like yesterday, last week, last month, day before yesterday, last year, last day, ago, long time ago, long period ago, once it happened, once upon a time, in my childhood, to talk about past, in ancient period, in early period, and in 1980s, in 1970s, in 1990s. So now we are in 2021, right? So in 2020, that is past tense. And in those days, not these days. These days is present tense, those days is past tense. So in those days, etc. The words, so there are few more words. So all these words we can, by having all these words in a sentence, we can find out that the sentence is simple past tense. Okay, so next we move on to past continuous tense. So the definition of past continuous tense is to express an action that continued or ongoing in the past. So in simple past tense we are saying that to express an action that completed in the particular time in the past. Okay, but here to express an action that continued for some period of time, continued for a time. So that continued or ongoing in the past. It was going on. It was happening. So all those things. Okay. So the general form of past continuous tenses, there we had subject plus verb in did form. That is, verb will be either in did or in verb with ed, right? But here subject plus be verb. The be verbs that we use are either was or were. Either was or were. Okay. And the action verb will be in ing. Must. Ing is must for past continuous tense. So subject plus be verb. Be verbs are either was or were. So where do we use was? When the subject starts with I, he, she, it. Okay. When the subject refers I, he, she, it, we use was. And where do we use where? When the subject refers you, we, they. You, we, they, we use where. Okay. So subject plus was or where. If it is I or he or she or it, we use was. I was, he was, she was, it was. Okay. And here subject, if the subject is you were, we were, they were. Okay. So next the action verb will be in ing form. Shall we go through the rules now? So the first rule, to express an action going on at some time in the past. To express an action that was happening for some time, it was going on for some time in the past. So it was over by past itself. It's not happening now, but it was going on for a period of time. Okay. For example, it was raining throughout the night. It rained in the night is, yes, it rained in the night. We don't know how much time, but it's like it was raining throughout the night, from night till morning. So throughout the night it was raining. So the past verbs, see, it was. We use was for I, you, I, he, she, it. So it was, and here action verb with ing. It was raining throughout the night. Okay. And see the next one. They were. The subject is they. So they were playing football all evening yesterday. They played football yesterday. Yes, they played. We are not sure that how much time it is. Okay. But here they were playing football all evening yesterday. The whole evening they were playing. So were playing. They were playing. Play plus ing. So it was raining throughout the night. And the next example is they were playing football all evening yesterday. Okay, do you feel the difference between simple past tense and past continuous when we use yesterday? I said you that yesterday is a keyword we can use for simple past tense. But here all evening yesterday, not only yesterday, all evening yesterday, so that we use it in past continuous tense. See the next rule. To express an idea that two actions that happening parallel at the same time in a same sentence. To express an idea that two actions that happening parallel at the same time in the same sentence. So in the same sentence, in the same situations, when two things are happening at the same time. So one action is happening. So here you can see it was raining, only one action is happening. It was here they were playing only one action. So when in a sentence there were two actions happening at the parallel time. At the simultaneously one action, simultaneously the other action. One action repeatedly continued with the other action. So here see the example. While Sheila was reading, Mala was watching television. Okay, see the first past continuous verb is was reading. Was reading, since it is Sheila. Sheila refers to she. So was reading, and the next is was watching. Mala refers to she. So she was watching. Okay. So there are two actions happening in the same sentence, parallel at the same time. So when Sheila was reading, while Sheila was reading, what was Mala doing? Mala was watching television. In the same time it happens. To refer that we use rule number 2. So to express an idea that two actions that happening at the parallel at the same time in the same sentence. Okay children, so we'll move on with rule number 3. What is rule number 3? It is used to indicate an interruption in a longer action in the past. It is used to indicate an interruption in a longer action in the past. Interruption. What is interruption? So when something is happening in between. So as a disturbance or interrupting something. So why do you interrupt me when I speak? Now பேசிட்டு இருக்கும்போது interrupt பண்ற, disturb பண்ற. So the same way it is used to indicate an interruption that is happening in between when something is going on for a longer period of time. So see the example. When the phone rang, see clearly. When the phone rang, she was toasting the bread. So here, when the phone rang is past tense of ring. So we use simple past here. And continuing sentence is in past continuous. She was toasting bread. She was toasting the bread. So when she was toasting the bread, an action is going on. Okay. So when she was toasting the bread, what happened? The phone rang. So it was an interruption. She has to leave that and she has to come and pick the call, right? So it was like an interruption when she was doing another thing. For a long period of time, she was making the bread, toasting the bread. So by the time the phone rang. So it is started with when the phone rang, she was toasting the bread. So the phone rang. Rang is interruption here. Okay. Next one. What was he doing when the rain started? What was he doing? So here we actually started with, it is actually a question form. Okay. It's not a statement, it's a question form. So just for your reference, I gave you this. What was he doing when the rain started? When the rain started, what was he doing? Okay. So rain started, what was he doing? So it is like he was doing something. When did he do? He was doing at the time rain started. Okay. Next one. So this is rule number 3. Hope you can understand this. It is used to indicate an interruption, a disturbance. Something happened in between when some other thing is going on. Okay. In a longer action of the past. When the phone rang, she was toasting the bread. What was he doing when the rain started? Okay, children. So for all this we have keywords. Okay. So keywords. What are the keywords we have here? See, all morning. I told you if it is yesterday, simple past tense. All morning yesterday. All evening yesterday refers to past continuous. So all morning yesterday, all evening yesterday, all night yesterday, all day yesterday. So all those things refers to past continuous tense. Throughout the night, throughout the day, throughout the night, throughout the day. For a long time yesterday, for a long time last week, for a long time last day, for a long time last month, for a long time last year. So all these are the keywords that we can find the sentences past continuous tense. Okay, children, next we have past perfect tense. Past perfect tense, to express a continued or ongoing action that started in the past. To express a continued action that started in the past and continued until some time in the past. So in the past something had started and it was continuing for some time. Okay, as we saw in the past continuous tense, so it was an action was going on for some time and it got ended, right? But here it will be continuing till another action starts. That is the difference here. When we see the rules and examples, we will come to have a better understanding. So general form, subject plus had plus verb. Subject plus had plus verb. How do we have this verb? Verb in V3 form, which means past participle form. Present, past, past participle. V1, V2, V3. So which means that give, gave, given. Given is the past participle here, V3 form. Write, wrote, return. Forget, forgot, forgotten. Forgotten is the past participle form here. So V3 form. Okay. So subject plus had plus verb. Verb in V3 form or past participle form. Let's see the rules and examples now for better understanding. So rule number 1. To express the two actions that one action happened before another in the past. To express the two actions. There are two actions. Okay. So to express the two actions that one action happened before another in the past. So before one action happened, something already happened. That is called rule number, that is given in rule number 1. For example, the wounded person had already, okay, had already died. Already is the word for situation given here. The wounded person had died, okay, had already died when the ambulance arrived. So which is the first action that happened here? The wounded person had already died. Okay. So before when the ambulance arrived. So when the ambulance arrived here, that is second sentence. When the ambulance arrived, the wounded person had already died. So there are two actions. One action is the wounded person had died. The second action is the ambulance arrived. Okay. So to express the two actions, that one action happened before another in the past. Okay. So before this he had died. That is the action which is given as first. The wounded person had already died when the ambulance arrived. Okay. Okay children, so we'll move on with rule number 2. Subordinate clause that starts with after. Subordinate clause that starts with after is to be mentioned in past perfect tense, and the main clause should be mentioned in the past tense. Okay. Subordinate clause that starts with after is to be mentioned in past perfect tense, and the main clause should be mentioned in the past tense. So this same, likewise we are seeing two sentences here. Here also in rule number 2 also we have two sentences. But the difference is subordinate clause. So we have two clauses. One is main clause and the other is subordinate clause in a sentence. Okay. So the main clause, leave the main clause, and subordinate clause always starts with conjunction, that is like after or before. So we'll be having a connecting word before the sentence starts. So the subordinate clause that starts with after, okay, is to be mentioned in past perfect tense. So the sentence that has after before the sentence comes in past perfect tense, and the main clause. So the main clause, the first sentence will be in past tense. Let's see the example. See this, they left the place after the sun had set. So here it starts with after. Okay. So this is called subordinate. They left the places, main clause. After the sun had set is subordinate clause. So subordinate clause comes with after. It starts with after. So what do we see here? Subordinate clause that starts with after is to be mentioned in past perfect tense. See here, it starts with after and it is mentioned in past perfect tense. Subject, the sun had set. Subject is the sun, had set is given in past perfect tense. Had plus the verb. Okay. See this, they left the place. It is given in simple past tense. See here, main clause should be mentioned in the past tense. So the main clause should be mentioned in past tense, and the subordinate clause that start with after given in past perfect tense. Okay children, are you clear? So we are seeing two rules in past perfect tense. The first is to express the two actions, that one action happened before another in the past. So two actions are happening. So before one action happened, the other action started. And the second one, subordinate clauses that starts with after. So the subordinate clause that starts with after will be mentioned in past perfect tense, and this sentence, that is the main clause, is mentioned in past tense. Okay, so main clause is mentioned in simple past tense, and the subordinate clause that starts with after is mentioned in past perfect tense. Okay children, so keywords for past perfect tense is after, before. So as we are seeing here, after or before. Okay. So the next tense is past perfect continuous tense. So we are seeing simple past tense, past continuous tense, past perfect tense. Now we are going to see past perfect continuous tense. So let's see the definition for past perfect continuous tense. It is used to indicate a continuous action that was completed at some point of time in the past. So it's used to indicate a continuous action that was completed at some point in the past. Likewise, we have in past perfect, we have in past perfect continuous tense, but the minute difference must be handled properly. So the general form for past perfect continuous is subject plus had been plus verb with ing. Since it is continuous form, we have the action verb in ing. So subject plus had been plus verb plus ing. See here, for past perfect tense, subject plus had plus verb in V3 form, that is in past participle form. But here, when it comes to past perfect continuous tense, subject plus had been, subject plus had been plus verb in ing form. Okay children, so let's see the rules of past perfect continuous now. So rule number 1, it's used to show cause and effect of an action before another in the past. It's used to show cause and effect of an action before another action in the past. See the example. Karuna was tired because he had been walking. So the effect of walking. So could you understand now the effect of walking? So which is the verb here? Had been walking. Which is the verb here? Had been walking. So the rule that you have seen is subject plus had been plus verb with ing. Okay, subject plus had been. Subject plus had been plus verb, that is walk with ing. He had been walking. So the effect of walking, the cause or effect of some action happened. So the effect of walking is what? Karuna was tired. Okay. So the effect will be given in simple past tense and the action is given in past perfect tense. So Karuna was tired because he had been walking. So the effect of walking is tired. So we have two verb forms here. The first one is simple past. So the effect is given in simple past. See the next example. Sam lost weight because he had not been eating properly. So there are two actions. So Sam lost weight. Sam lost weight. Okay. So weight is the object here. Actually lost. Lost is the verb that we have here. Simple past tense. Okay. So, lost is the simple past tense. So what's happening here? Sam had not been, since he didn't eat properly, so that it's given in not been. Okay. He had not been. Negative sentence. Sam had not been eating properly. The effect of not eating properly is he lost his weight. Okay. So Sam lost is given in simple past tense because that is the effect of not eating properly. So the action is not eating properly. That is given in past perfect continuous tense. He had not been eating properly and the effect is losing weight. So it's given in simple past. Sam lost weight. Okay. And from last week because he had not been eating properly. So some action had happened. The happening is given in simple past and the action is given in past perfect continuous tense. So rule number 2, it is used to show that something started in the past and continued until another time in the past. It is used to show that something started in the past and continued up until another time in the past. Let's see the example to make it clear. We had been talking for 2 hours before Raja arrived. So there are two actions. One action is we have been talking. Okay, for 2 hours we have been talking. And the other action is Raja arrived. Okay, so before Raja arrived, what we were doing is given in past perfect continuous tense. So we had been talking. It's given in past perfect continuous tense for 2 hours. How long? For 2 hours before Raja arrived. So the second sentence is Raja's arrival. Okay, so it's given in simple past. So the action that continues is given in simple past and the action that is going on for a period of time is given in past perfect continuous tense. Okay children, so we have two rules here. The first one is to show cause and effect of an action before another in the past. So because of something happened, the effect and causes that happens is given in simple past tense and the action is given in past perfect tense, continuous tense here. And here it is used to show that something started in the past and continued up until another time in the past. So something, before something happens, something is going on already for some period of time. For 2 hours they had been talking before Raja arrived. That is given. Okay. Okay children, so the keywords for past perfect continuous tenses are for 10 minutes, for a week, for 2 hours, for 10 hours, for a whole day. Okay, all these are the keywords that we use for past perfect continuous tense. And here's the differentiation. Actually, we use this for finding out present perfect continuous tense also. For example, we have been talking for 2 hours before Raja arrived. Okay, so we have been talking for 2 hours. So for 2 hours we are using for present perfect continuous tense also because the action started in the past but still it is going on. That is present perfect continuous tense. But here it is past perfect continuous. Something had started happening and it was going on for something and it stopped when the other action happened. That is the differentiation. So we have been talking for 2 hours is present perfect continuous tense. We had been talking for 2 hours before Raja arrived is past perfect continuous tense. So for 10 minutes, for 2 hours, for 3 hours, for a week, for a month, all these are the keywords that we use to find out past perfect continuous tense. Okay children, so I hope you are clear with all the 4 types of tenses in past tense, that are simple past tense, past continuous tense, past perfect tense and past perfect continuous tense. Okay children, so we will be sending you the worksheet for this and we want you to complete the answers for the worksheet and send us back in the same group that you are receiving. Okay children, we will meet you all with the next session.